Okay, we're ready. Good morning, good morning. How are you all? On a sunny morning, but it's we all know that the marine layer does move fast through our communities. Well, good morning, good morning. I'm thrilled to be here and talk with all of you. I am Diane Dixon, your assembly person. Well, thank you. I'm proud to represent you. I'm honored to represent all of you in Sacramento. Assembly District 72 is, I believe, the best assembly district in the state. I represent Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, and then I come inland here to Laguna Woods, Laguna Hills, Aliso Viejo, and Lake Forest. So it's a great district. So I'm delighted to be here. I know you're all here to learn about fraud and computer spam, scams, whatever. We have a speaker. She's coming after I speak for a few minutes for a town hall. This is an opportunity for me to talk with my constituents and tell you what I do all day in Sacramento. There are many stories to share. And then after I give about 20 minutes of remarks and then certainly open it up to your questions. And then Jackie Wiley, who's from the State Department of Finance, Finance and Innovation, she has been kind of trailing me all around my district, and my staff has made these arrangements with her, and she's excellent. She herself has experienced computer scams, so she speaks from experience. So I have these town halls at different communities around my district. This is the third that deal with the scams against seniors, which is a target audience, and I think it will be very helpful to you. So I'm standing between you and the scam protection team. So anyway, so if you'll just bear with me while I give you an update and tell you what's going on in Sacramento. Just for those of you who don't know, I was elected in 2022, November 2022, and time flies when you're having fun. And so this is election year, so everybody is probably talking to you about elections. And so I'm not going to talk about elections as much as just tell you what I've been doing. So a couple things. I am in the minority party, and so it requires and necessitates all of us to work together, form good relationships to get things done. And I am pleased and honored that the governor has signed 7 of my bills so far into law. A couple of the more recent ones that you might be interested in. How many of you have ride an e-bike? Is that very popular in your community? No, really? Oh, because in Huntington Beach and some of the senior communities that I represent up in Huntington Beach, that's a big concern because the young people who ride e-bikes, we all see them, and who are not following established traffic laws. The senior population loves their e-bikes because maybe they're not driving so much anymore and it's just more economical. And so it's a big topic. Well, anyway, I won't spend too much time on it other than the fact in the furtherance of safety in our communities from an e-bike perspective, the governor signed my bill that prohibits the sale of a speed enhancer device. How many of you know about this? I didn't know anything about this, but the legislature many of us, both parties, both houses, Senate and Assembly, are considering, debating, deliberating on how best to deal with e-bikes because we like bikes and we want people to be riding bikes, and e-bikes are wonderful. But the speed enhancer has, when people buy a speed enhancer off Amazon or any place they get these things, it's a small device. It's hard to even notice for enforcement purposes. That's why we have to go to the root cause. They cannot be sold in California because they could take the speed up to 38 miles per hour. I mean, as fast as a car, and that's even faster than you can go through our streets and school districts, et cetera. So the governor signed that, so that's one step closer to helping to make our roads and sidewalks, bikeways, safer. So you'll be hearing more about that when that happens. Public safety is really important to me. Is that a concern of you folks? I know Laguna Woods is a safe community, right? So just so you know, that is one of my highest priorities. In fact, when I ran in 2022, public safety, community safety, safe communities, supporting our police, making sure the police have the right resources, it's really, really important. And In fact, much of our crime in California is attributed to a loosening of our penalties for crime in our criminal justice system. Maybe some of you remember Proposition 47 in 2014 that reduced sentencing, prison, jail, and prison sentencing for many crimes, reducing them from felonies to misdemeanors. Some of those crimes include violent crimes, rapes against women and children. I don't know why that got stuck in there in 2014, but nonetheless, those crimes had been reduced. So there is been an effort all year to work on bills to strengthen those laws. That's really difficult in the current legislature that we have. I mean, the governor is letting people out of prisons, and so it's really hard to deal with. There is a split, I have to say, a philosophical split of do we put people in jail or prison and hope to rehabilitate them? We certainly want them rehabilitated, or not. It's really black and white. I support stronger sentences to keep our communities and to deter, safe and deter crime. And so as a result of a lot of controversial work all year long, there is a measure that 900,000 residents, citizens, signed petitions, initiative petition, to be placed on the November ballot. Now, there are many measures you'll be reading about and hearing about just very soon, in the weeks ahead, probably after Labor Day, all this will start. Proposition 36 is a measure that 900,000 voters signed to increase the penalties, especially for retail crime. Do you have much retail crime in Laguna? Yes, you do? Shoplifting. Do you know that shoplifting as a crime was removed in the original Prop 47? There's no crime on the books for shoplifting. So that is, I mean, shocking. I didn't even know that. So that is one of the many improvements in the initiative, and also a package of separate bills that are not going before the voters, but about 20 bills to address retail crime. And that's been a big battle, got really political. They're not all done yet. We have one more month in the legislature. In fact, next Monday I go up for the last 4 weeks of this current legislative session that ends August 31st. So there's a lot going on in the next 4 weeks. I hope this package, I support, it's bipartisan, bicameral, meaning they're Assembly and Senate bills introduced and authored by Democrats and Republicans. I support all of them because they're strengthening the laws related to crime against retail, primarily retail theft, and online theft, cargo theft, a lot of crime off cargo ships or crimes off containers, and then they're sold on the black market. A lot of crime. Anyway, we're trying to address it. And I'm really hopeful that these bills, and I've spoken in favor of the bills authored by members of a different party, political party, so we're united on, really truly united on making our communities safe. I just hope they make it through. There's a lot of pressure not to pass these bills, so I'm hoping we're going to work hard and let people know. That's one of the reasons I'm talking about it. You don't have to write your assembly person, because I know I'm supportive of retail crime packages to strengthen penalties for retail crime. But just tell your neighbors and your friends how important Proposition 36 is for safe communities and the work of the legislature. You'll be hearing and reading more about these retail crime bills. So that's an important part of what I do. Also, affordability, that's an important issue to everybody, no matter where they live or how they live. And I've tried on a couple of ways on gasoline taxes, for example. My bill did not even get out of committee. It would have allowed the governor to not increase the automatic, it was a SB1, that every July 1st, the gasoline tax, only California implements or enforces or imposes on a gallon of gas, to hold off and not increase that percentage of tax. I thought it adds almost $1 to the price of a gallon of gas in California. Other states don't have this. That my bill would have given the governor the authority to get from the legislature to give the governor authority. You don't have to approve this automatic increase in taxes at the beginning of the new fiscal year. I thought, when I was naive and younger from when I first started 2 years ago, who wouldn't support giving relief to people who buy gasoline, right? Wouldn't that be a great idea for a bill? Well, that's what I did. I was shocked to find out, once I became involved in how Sacramento operates, that frankly, on a whole other thrust of the legislature is to transform society, behavior, everything against anything that has to do with gasoline, power, anything. And so the whole move is to electric cars, not gasoline-powered cars. So the thought that really it's the intent, by not approving a reduction in the gasoline tax and keeping the price of gasoline high, the idea by other members of the legislature is to make the cost of driving so difficult, so expensive, that people will switch to an electric car. Is that going to influence you? I mean, I have nothing against electric cars, honestly, and they're growing, but I believe that we still have automobiles. The vast majority of people are driving gasoline-powered automobiles. It's expensive. Our gasoline price per gallon is very expensive in California. Until there are enough electric filling stations, if you will, infrastructure to support electric cars, when there are more electric cars, then we will allow that to happen. But we're forcing people to shift and change their behavior. And it's really maybe not a problem for you. I hear this a lot from people who drive long distances to work. They're in the construction industry. They're driving from job to job. They can't take public transportation. They don't have electric trucks. They don't have electric vehicles. And it becomes a high cost item. Anyway, my bill did not get out of committee. So, but another bill did related to vehicle registration, again, an affordability matter, that if people have to renew every year their tag on their license plate, on their vehicle registration, if they want my bill gives an extra 30 days for people, difficult financial times. Give me 30 more days. I know this day has been coming. I have to register my vehicle annually, but give me 30 more days. And I did get that through. But I also learned something in the process, because I actually wanted to waive the increase in the vehicle registration. California has the highest vehicle registration fees. I wanted to waive an increase. And you know what? The reason why that bill didn't get out of committee? I did not know this. The DMV, our favorite agency, the Department of Motor Vehicles, part of their financial structure, the budgeting of the money that they need to do what they're supposed to be doing as a state agency, they depend on penalties and fines. So I was trying to relieve the fine structure, the penalty structure, and they did not support that because they need that to fill their budget gap. Little did I know. So there's just a lot of countervailing forces in Sacramento. Okay, so that did get through. And another bill that is kind of a fun bill, my staff calls it a fun bill, that how many of you are familiar with abalone? Abalone is a shellfish. I did not know that the state of California did not have a state shellfish. And I represent 37 miles of California beaches. So I introduced a bill. Who could oppose designating the abalone, the black abalone, as the state shellfish? So that sailed through the legislature, I don't think it's actually signed yet. Janelle, did that get signed yet? I don't think it's been signed. It's on the governor's desk. Or Cooper, do you know?
It has not been signed yet.
It has not. Cooper and Janelle are my two field reps, so if you ever need any, they do all the work so in the district. So they're great. They're sitting in the back of the room. Anyway, I'm hopeful that my seashell bill gets signed by the governor, and to designate that, I have to tell you a fun story that several weeks ago, the city of Laguna Beach I had never heard of this before. Communities do fun things. I don't think you'll have one in Laguna Woods, but Laguna Beach had a kelp festival. How many of you have ever been to a kelp festival? I have. But the good thing is, it's celebrating our beaches, our oceans, the marine life, keeping our beaches clean. There was a beach cleanup. So I go to a lot of these things. But I was waiting to speak, and as they opened the ceremony, there was a Native American ceremony, and a Native American woman was doing an Indian prayer, because in Laguna Beach and the surrounding area, it's all used to be former tribal land. And so I did not know that either. And so there's just a really important recognition of the tribal ancestors. So they're doing a little ceremony with the abalone shell, and there's smoke coming out of it, and it was a prayer, a spiritual experience, and to bless this day of the festival, to protect our oceans. And so then when I got up to speak, I thought, oh, that's wonderful. When I got up to speak, and then I talked about my black abalone shell, the woman who did this, the prayer, the spiritual prayer, she became very emotional, and she just hugged me and said, oh my gosh, this is so important. I did not realize that much significance. I knew it was protecting a seashell and a fish, a product of the marine life that is on the endangered species list of the federal government. So I knew that's important. People still enjoy abalone, but it is an endangered species. And then plus it's endangered, and it's a spiritual symbol for the local Native American tribes that have been in Laguna Beach for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Anyway, it's a very meaningful event. So I'm very proud of my black abalone seashell. All right, now I've given you some highlights. I could spend a few minutes in letting you speak. Is our speaker here? Is Jackie here yet? She's here? Oh, okay, she'll be coming. All right, for about the next 5 or so minutes, if you have, before we turn it over to our spam expert, scam, not spam, scam. I keep saying spam, scam. Ask me anything you'd like to know. What's going on? Ask me anything about Sacramento. Yes?
Governor Newsom, and he says there's going to be no homelessness.
Yes, I'll repeat your question, okay.
Okay, yes.
And you think it's gonna work? How is homeless here in Laguna Woods?
We don't see it inside.
In other cities, if you go.
El Toro.
Oh, really? Right. So, a couple of good things. I'm from Newport Beach, and the city of Newport Beach supported, as a friend of the court, this lawsuit. Wait, oh, I have to stay over there. Sorry about that. I upset the camera. All right, I'm here. Okay, anyway, there was a lawsuit that went all the way up to the United States Supreme Court from a city in Oregon, Grants Pass, Oregon, to give local government control over the homeless, because there have been prior court decisions that took local government out of the homeless control business. That was in 2017. That's when homelessness really started to become a problem in the western states, not the entire country. So Grants Pass got their case up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled about 3 or 4 weeks ago to support local control and let the cities do within the law, within the federal law, protecting human rights, civil rights, all the necessary protections, of course, for the homeless, but that the cities can take control of the public spaces. So Newsom, to his credit, said, let's get moving and encouraging the cities, the counties. The money is there. A little backstory, $23 billion has been spent on homelessness in the last 3 years. Where does all that money go? Anyway, now, I don't know where that money is, but there's now new money. There was a ballot measure last primary election on March 1st, that $10 billion bond measure that is going to free up monies for counties and cities to access, to provide. We want people in homes. We want people, and primarily what we have found through all the recent studies of homeless population is the chronic homeless, those who are still on the streets. They need help. They have mental illness issues, and they can't help themselves on the street. So we want them off the street in a safe and secure environment where they can get the help that they need. So the governor, I will say this, the governor's done the right thing to help expedite the whole process. I think he knew it was embarrassing because there was $23 billion that was frittered away. But anyway, going forward, homeless will be dealt with. Incidentally, I don't know how many of you travel wherever. I was in Boston a couple weeks ago. I didn't see a single piece of trash, a single homeless person in all of Boston. They have different laws in different states, and particularly in the East Coast. They don't have the same West Coast Court, the Ninth Circuit, that told cities they could not remove people from public spaces. So the city of Grants Pass challenged that, and here we are. So I think it's a new day to help keep our people who need help, help them get the help and shelter that they need, the medical help and the shelter that they need, and then help keep our cities clean. All right, I see Ms. Wiley has arrived. Is there one more question that you have a burning question for your local assembly person? Well, just know that I'm delighted to represent you. It's always fun to come to Laguna Woods. You're a great community. And I'm going to be going upstairs in a few moments I'll be on your TV program. Do you watch the TV program? Great. Well, and they get to rerun, so you'll see a lot of me, right? So anyway, I always enjoy that. That's a fun process. So you'll see me again with this tape for those who missed it, and then I'll be doing a special interview that they'll be interviewing me. So thank you for being so sweet and kind and welcoming me to Laguna Woods. It's a great city. Thank you. All right, I'd like to introduce Miss Jackie Wiley. Are you here? Come on up. And Jackie is with the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. And as I mentioned earlier, Jackie has been doing this roadshow with me, several communities. And people love her because she can speak from personal experience, because you've had some online scamming, and you have a lot of important information to help all of us deal with potential criminal issues. Just this morning, I was checking my email on Gmail, and there were 2 emails that were phishing. You know what phishing is, P-H-I-S-H, what replicate your bank or any other kind of, and the United States Postal Service. I get phishing regularly saying, confirm your address, package cannot be delivered. You get that? So they've gotten so smart. Their graphics are a perfect replication of what the real legitimate stores are doing. And so all of us have to be aware. In fact, the last summit we did with Jackie a couple weeks ago up in Leisure World, I guess it was, in Seal Beach. And one of the I guess he's the city finance director. Anyway, he's running for city council. He said his mother actually fell for a scam, went to the bank, and had $15,000 withdrawn because somebody from somewhere, Africa, said, you need to help me, and I need $15,000. Why she did that? And she was on limited income and $15,000. It's horrible, but this is why we all have to be so vigilant. As a matter of fact, just to digress, I'm on the Banking and Finance Committee in the Assembly, and a bill is coming forward. They're working it out with the banks, the financial institutions, to put them, we're handing out little bags from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Thank you, Jackie. I just want to tell you what a bill is coming that would bring in the banks, the financial institutions, to help protect the unsuspecting. So, for example, the woman I just described who went to her bank teller and got $15,000 out of her bank account. If this law is passed, there's still some amendments that have to be worked out, because the banks don't really want to be the ones enforcing this law, so they're still working it out. But the gist of it is that if someone comes up to a teller, a bank customer, says, I want $15,000, whatever amount, out of my bank account, there has to be a family member who's co-signed onto that senior citizen's bank account, so that the family member will be called and said, your mother, my father, whomever is here at the teller station and wants to withdraw $15,000, is this okay? So that's probably what's going to happen. And then another part of it, this is a little bit more controversial, is that the person can come up and ask for $15,000 or ask for whatever amount, but there would be a hold on their account for 3 days until they validated the legitimacy of that request. people don't really like that. They don't want a 3-day hold. They need their money. So I think the family member co-signing on the account, and not everybody wants a family member to co-sign on. So there's just a lot of privacy issues. I've seen that the bill has been in judiciary where I am, business and banking and finance, and privacy. It touches a lot of different important areas. Yeah, did you have a question on that?
My friend had an incident where she wrote a check to Edward Jones.
Say that again?
I wrote a check to
State Farm.
State Farm Insurance.
Yes.
Okay? It was a pretty decent amount. 2 banks approved that check with a signature on the back that didn't have Edward Jones.
State Farm.
Stay far.
Or State, I keep saying.
Well, anyway, hold your thought because this is a perfect entree, an introduction to Jackie. Jackie can help explain all what you need to do, and we all need to be smart about it. Jackie, if you'd like to come up, thank you for being here again. Thank you. How are you? So good to see you.
You as well, thank you.
Thank you. It's all yours.
Right, okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We can do better than that. Good morning. I just came from downtown Los Angeles and the 405 was horrendous, so good morning. I'm here. I want to again thank the Assemblywoman for inviting me to your neck of the woods. And like she said, millions of people are falling victim and falling prey to frauds and scams. So we have got to be diligent. We have got to do our homework. So I'm really glad that you're here today because I have a lot of information that I'm going to share with you. And just so you know, it is not to frighten anybody, but because education is key. If you're not educated about what's going on out there, you're not going to know how to best help yourself, protect yourself. Am I right?
Right.
Okay, so let's get started.
Okay.
And you can hold it right there. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I am with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, and I'm a very audience active speaker. So you'll get to be doing this and, you know, raising your hands. I have been with the department for many years, and I have been doing outreach probably for about 25 plus years, pounding the pavement through Southern California so that I can bring this critical message to communities, to vulnerable individuals, but especially to older adults, because we all know that they are prime victims, or we are prime victims to scammers. Am I right? Right. Okay, and do we know why?
Technology. Nuts.
Yeah, technology, but older adults are prime victims because it's said you're retired. You live in a beautiful community out here. Laguna Woods is nice. You know, you have a nest egg, you know, so you have savings. And this is the goal of scammers, is to do what? To take it away from us, okay? So I am one of the targeted outreach specialists with the DFPI, and I am located in Los Angeles. We have 4 offices. One's in Sacramento, which is our headquarters, San Diego, San Francisco, and again, Los Angeles. So I've been doing this for a very long time. My heart goes out to so many people. I used to be the consumer service representative for the entire department, for the enforcement division. So I got to hear a lot of crying and, you know, heartfelt stories about individuals who befriended someone or trusted an individual or said yes but didn't do their homework. So that is the key here today, is to go to the source and to do your homework, okay? So who is the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation? And I always embarrass myself by asking that question. So raise your hand if you've heard of that agency before. Have you seen me before? Okay, oh, okay. Okay, so we are formally the Department of Business Oversight, and before we became the Department of Business Oversight, we were the Department of Corporations. So that's kind of telling you why I don't have any hair, why it's all gray, and why low, because I have been there for 3 name changes, okay? A lot of people think that the DFPI is a new agency. We're a state agency with oversight of financial institutions, products, and professionals, okay? So being around for that long and doing this work, it's very taxing, and it's just horrible. It's just heart-wrenching. So who are we and what do we do? Again, we're California's licensing and regulatory agency with oversight over financial institutions, products, and professionals. Well, what does that mean? A lot of us own homes or used to own homes or know someone who does own a home. Am I right? Okay, so we license and regulate a lot of the umbrellas there, financial lenders. When we pay our mortgages, we license and regulate the mortgage servicers, the escrow agents. If you are doing home improvement, we have jurisdiction over those PACE loans, you know, when people are doing home improvements, and I'm going to touch a little bit on that as well. Unfortunately, we have people who are short during the month or have maybe depleted their accounts and they go for a payday loan. We license and regulate them. If you're in the business of investing, we license and regulate broker dealers, investment advisors, franchises. We license over 300,000 financial professionals. Anybody that's dealing in California, they need to be licensed through us on a state level. We are a state government agency. If you're not licensed with us, you need to be licensed on the federal level, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission. We conduct audits to ensure state and federal compliance. We're reviewing so many consumer complaints, especially after the pandemic. And we're, you know, because people knew that we are home, we were limited with going out, you know, we had to do a lot of online banking and, you know, things like that. Am I right?
Yep.
And the phone calls, who would agree, have increased since the pandemic. Am I right?
Yeah.
We were always getting, and we're gonna always get solicitation phone calls, and this is why presentations like this are very important. We are pursuing legal actions against those that are operating illegally or using deceptive, unlawful, and abusive practices. How many would agree that that is really what's going on out here? Okay, so my job today, and has been for many years, is to provide consumers such as yourself awareness. And I said, I'm not trying to frighten anybody, because when I do presentations, I can see people like, oh my God, they're getting nervous, their eyes getting big, and they start thinking, should I have done that? Was that a scam? Should I, could I, would I? We're not here to frighten you. It's to bring awareness and heighten your awareness about the trending scams and frauds that are going on out there today, okay? Because like I said, millions are falling prey, and we're trying to, our mission with the DFPI is to help Californians protect themselves from falling victim. Next slide, please. So I have to say this really quick. The views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the presenter, which is myself. They do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the DFPI. This presentation is for educational purposes only. I am not here to give advice. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm going to make suggestions, okay? And it does not replace independent or professional judgment with the department. Next slide, please. So let's get started. Vishing, smishing, and phishing. Those are the new words that scammers have come up with when the pandemic came about. Vishing, well, what does that mean? Voice messaging us. It's a simple way or a new way of saying contact that person through home phones. How many people still have a home phone? Thank God, I'm not the only one. Home phone and our cell phones, okay? So vishing with the V means voice messaging us through that method. Smishing, never had heard of it before. People have cell phones in here? Yeah. Okay, so when you see the message of notice, and you got like 5, 6, 7, 8, it's a short message, but it's always about something that you need to take action on. That's smishing, meaning smishing the information to make it short because it's a sense of urgency, okay? Phishing, like the Assemblywoman mentioned, has been around for many years, and it's not this kind of phishing, it's this kind of phishing, but it's the PH. Phishing, meaning contacting us through emails. Phishing while you're online. Phishing us through snail mail, believe it or not, okay? So it's just all the same. So when you receive a call, a text message, an email, or a letter, or a message on social media, you need to be what? cautious, very cautious. We are going to stop believing who is on the other end of the line, especially if it's an incoming call. You didn't initiate it, they're calling you and you're asking you for information or offering you something. We need to be mindful that we need to be very cautious. Because why? The caller or the sender may not be who they say they are. So my motto, you're gonna hear me say this throughout the presentation, go to the source yourself. Go to the source yourself to verify. Verify, verify, okay? We need to start watching out for red flag signs. And so vishing, smishing, and phishing, which is phone, text message, and emails, all have the same thing in common. One, sense of urgency. It's always they want you to call this number back, click this link to rectify a situation that is happening right now. The sense of urgency, okay? The second thing is they want you to provide your personal and financial information. So those are two things that we have to always keep in mind, a sense of urgency, and they're fishing for our personal and financial information. Next slide, please. So the reason why I said you need to go to the source and why we need to be cautious is because I want to talk about imposters. Now, if imposterization is a word, I'm going to use that. It's a lot of imposterization going on now, okay? Let's talk about government and business imposters. The IRS. People are getting phone calls. You have caller ID. You see the viewer, and it says Internal Revenue Service. My first thought is, oh my God, why is the IRS? Why are they calling me? You know what I mean? Am I the only one that gets nervous or would be nervous if they saw the viewer saying IRS? Because I don't know about anybody in here. I, for one, don't mess around with the IRS. Okay? I don't think anybody does or wants to. But when and if you got a call that identified themselves as the IRS, stop and think, why would they be calling me? Why are they singling me out? The IRS does not have time to contact anybody in this room to say, you forgot to pay your taxes, I didn't see anything in your file, you're late doing whatever. They're not going to call you. How do you think that you would get contacted if the IRS needed to contact you? Mail. Thank you, by mail. So just know, government agency, IRS, that's not who it really is, okay? Social Security. We're hearing about maybe a voicemail when you get on the line and it says that your Social Security has been frozen. Well, what the heck does that mean? How do you freeze my Social Security number? And it could be a live person because they're up in the ante now with the scams, and someone will say, hi, I'm calling from the Social Security Administration's office, and your Social Security card has been frozen. We need you to verify that sense of urgency, verify some information so that we can take care of that. Well, first of all, again, how would my Social Security card become frozen, okay? If anything, I'm concerned about someone using my Social Security number, okay? Again, that's that sense of urgency. But again, a government agency is not going to call you with that information, okay? Or that question, okay? Utility company. We're hearing so much about this utility company scam. It's unbelievable. So let's take a listen. Hi, this is Jackie, and I'm calling from ABC Utility Company, and everybody in here uses ABC Utility Company, okay? And I'm giving you a courtesy call today because I see that your bill is past due. It's delinquent. By the way, I'm in the delinquent department with ABC Utility Company. Courtesy call because you need to pay it now, or your utilities will be shut off by the end of the day. People are falling for that. Let's stop and think, people. Come on. How would you be notified if your utility bill was late? Mail. By mail. because when I get my next bill, it's going to tell me past due, pay now in red letters or big bold black letters that you need to pay that now. Utility companies don't have a delinquent department, but it sounds so real. And if I start questioning myself, well, wait a minute, did I pay the bill for this month? How many people write checks? Thank God, I'm still not the only one. So you're gonna start questioning yourself. Go look in your checkbook, check your history, but better yet, go where? To the source. Call the utility company yourself before you provide information. Don't fall for that. Government agency, again, not calling you to remind you that your bill is not paid and that your utilities are going to be shut off. Don't fall for that, okay? Again, sense of urgency. Financial institutions and businesses. Sometimes we'll look at our caller ID and we'll notice a company or a bank or Medicare or whatever, a known organization or a place that we frequent, that we do business with. Your bank is calling, because I bank at ABC Bank, and wow, the bank, oh, let me get that because it's my bank. Hi, this is Jackie calling from ABC Bank. How are you doing today? Remember, hi, Jackie. So they've called out my name, like they know who I am, okay? And I'll say, how can I help you? What's going on? They'll say, oh, I see that you've been a customer of the bank for over 25 years. First, let me congratulate you for being a customer that long. And we are updating our records, so we're calling our customers to verify information. Could you please provide us with your social security number? Can you please provide us with your banking number, routing number? They're asking all of these personal things because I've been a customer for 25 years. If I've been a customer for 25 years, you should be telling me what my information is. Stop and think about that. And if you are not expecting a call from the bank, I don't care if it is your bank or not. Imposters. If you didn't initiate the phone call, please don't believe that that's who that is, okay? Don't believe it, all right? Same thing with businesses. We have people who are buying homes, refinancing, and you have to go and work with an escrow company. We are a state government agency that license and regulate escrow companies. We have had people posing to the fact that they are licensed with our agency so that they can scam an individual. So be mindful that it's not only things that are happening on the outside, things happen on the inside as well, okay? Supermarkets, department stores, restaurants. Be mindful when you get a phone call and they are saying that something is wrong. Remember this presentation. Jackie said, don't believe the caller because it's possible and more than likely that it's an imposter, okay, posing as the entity that I'm aware of, and I need to go where? To the source, okay? You go to the source yourself. Law enforcement phone calls. Hi, this is Dave from LAPD, and I see that there's been a problem at your address. We need you to come down to the station. Wait a minute, what? And you're not aware of this, but you know of Dave from the LAPD because you just maybe know that he works for the LAPD. These are people who are imposters, law enforcement within authoritative figures to pump fear into us so that we can relinquish our information. Don't believe it, okay? I wouldn't care if you knew Dave from the LAPD. You need to go where? To the source. Law enforcement, sheriff department, fire departments do not call us to solicit for fundraising. If you're getting those phone calls, that's not who it is. These are imposters posing as those authoritative figures to get you to depart with your money, okay? Other common scams that we are hearing about, I know everybody in here knows the difference between a credit card and a debit card, am I right? Okay, credit card is a monthly bill, not unless you pay it off, right off the bat. And then your debit card is linked to your checking account. Am I right? Okay, I'm gonna ask this question. How many people in here, when you are out shopping or doing whatever, you use your debit card? Okay, and that's fine, because I use my debit card. But when you use your debit card, are you doing a debit transaction or a credit transaction? Debit transaction, people. Credit transaction, people. I'm seeing people not participating, okay? So credit transactions?
Credit card.
No, credit card, but we're talking about our debit card that comes from our checking accounts. So I'm asking that because you need to be mindful. There are still skimmers that are showing up. They used to be only on the outside. When you're at the gas station, it's a device that goes over the piece that you put your card in. When you put your card in, you're gonna punch in your PIN number. Once the coast is clear, they're coming, they're taking that piece off. They have your card number embedded because it was in the machine, and they're linking it and putting it, because you put your PIN number in. So please try to remember to do a credit transaction versus a debit transaction. When I'm in the stores, you can always opt out and say, I want to do a credit. Which button do I press? Because it's not always the green circle. Sometimes it could be the yellow, it could be a red. But press that so you don't have to punch in your PIN number, because earlier I just said that those devices were showing up outside gas stations, outside ATMs, but they are now surfacing and have been surfacing on the inside, grocery stores, department stores. So we have got to be on our due diligence and be aware of that. So if you're doing a debit transaction, try to do credit transaction instead, so you can alleviate putting in your PIN number. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, and of course,
Credit transaction is.
a credit transaction is where you don't have to punch in your PIN number. I'm putting in my debit card, and I'm not going to punch in my PIN number so that the transaction can go through. I'm going to press the button, the green circle normally, to bypass the.
So you don't have to put the.
No, ma'am, you do not, okay? Credit transactions, okay?
Yeah, I never used it, so I didn't know that.
Okay, and of course, using a credit card is always better because it's extra protection on the card, because you can dispute, better the transactions that are not yours. Are we clear? Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Would you state that again? Whenever you use I only use my debit card at the market.
Okay.
That's the only place. So I don't have to put it in my PIN number, I just go directly to the green thing? Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. She's saying that she only uses her debit card when she's at the grocery store. And so again, you can say, I want to do a credit transaction. Which button do I press? It's normally the green circle button. So you press that and it will bypass your putting in your PIN number, and the receipt is just going to come out. Okay? You understand?
But it's still a debit transaction.
It will be coming, it will come right on out. It will come right on out, okay?
Good to know.
The difference is that you're protecting yourself in case there is a skimmer, a device on that machine. So if you put your card in, if you tap it, you still punching in your PIN number. We don't want them to have both our card number and our PIN number, because then when you get home, your bank account is going to be depleted, okay?
Well, you would think you would have to make a choice. It would just be that way on all of them.
I mean, it's knowing that you have that option. You understand what I mean? Yes, no, yes.
There's a difference. Target cards are linked to your debit card. What would you suggest for that?
I would still,
Get a target card.
If the Target card is linked to your debit card,
again, bypass if you can, okay? And I don't want you to freak out if you can't bypass it, because some people say, well, my card is only a debit card. It doesn't do credit transactions. And this is why we have to pay attention to our statements when they come, making sure that the transactions that we have done are ours and ours only. Okay? Okay, yes.
Also, if some gas stations only let you have credit or debit card transactions, so maybe we have to avoid them.
And go inside. Go inside. Go, sometimes we don't want to get out of our cars and go inside to do a transaction because the machine is right there. Again, we have got to start looking at protecting ourselves. Last question, and then we're going to hold them until the end. Yes, ma'am.
Every time I use a debit card, I go to the Chase and get cash out.
Okay.
So you're saying, don't put that PIN number in?
Are you at the ATM machine?
Yeah.
You have to put your PIN number in because it's an ATM machine. But what I'm saying is sometimes you might want to think twice because you've heard me talk about the skimmers that could show up on that machine, and we're not going to see it. They're not very visible. Write this down so that you can get more clarity about what a skimmer is. SKIMMERS. SKIMMERS. You can Google that and it will show you what it looks like and how it works, okay? So if you're doing a transaction at an ATM machine, you're gonna have to punch in your PIN number or you're not gonna be able to do the transaction. If you can go inside, I'm suggesting that to get the monies, but sometimes we don't always wanna do that. Just be mindful and again, watch your statements, okay? All right. Debt collectors. We now have oversight over debt collectors, and everyone should know that a debt collector is a third party wanting to collect on a debt they say that you owe. So your file has come into my office, and I'm a debt collector, and I'm calling you, and I'm badgering you, and I'm saying to you, yes, Ms. Wiley, your file has come across my office, and I see that you have a very outstanding bill with J.C. Penney's. It says that your outstanding balance was $500 that you never paid on, and it's way overdue. That's why it's in my office. But today, if you pay right now, the $250, half of it is your file will be clean. All good, okay? Well, let's start with the fact that I've never had a JCPenney card before. Let's start there. So don't allow a fear of someone badgering you and telling you what you have before you go to the source yourself and start thinking, I've never had a JCPenney card. I've never been in collections in my life. Why are we entertaining that call? Delete, okay? Celebrity endorsements. This is really important. We see a lot of commercials and ads on TV, with celebrities doing these commercials. I have my mom, I moved her here. She's 82 years old. I brought her from New York to here because it was time for her to be staying with somebody. So we're sitting there and we can see the commercial about Medicare and a colonial pen, the guy, Mr. Lawson, but Medicare especially, A, B, Part C, this, that. And she'll say, do we have that? Do I have that? And I said, Mom, you have that. Are you sure maybe we should call this number? No, we're not calling the number. If you have a question and you're interested in getting Part A or information from the commercial, don't use the number that's on the TV. I'm not saying that it's an incorrect number, but you should be going where? To the source. Go to the source. Pull out your Medicare card. Call it and then inquire. Same way if you got a phone call and you answered it and there's somebody saying they're from healthcare and it's about your insurance, because my mom gets those calls all the time. They all come to me. If we're not interested in having physical therapy, I don't want to provide that information. Give us a call back. And what I do is I hang up and I get her in the card and I call to verify that they are making, that this number came from there. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't believe that. And I have to mention, artificial intelligence is live and it is growing. Just because somebody of celebrity status is endorsing something doesn't always mean that it's good for us. We have a lot of people who are falling for that. Older adults, oh my God, I love Brad Pitt. And did you see that he is endorsing? I'm going to buy that because he's using that. How do you know that Brad Pitt is using this product? How do you know that? Because you saw the commercial? Because you heard it on the news? Don't allow a celebrity endorsement entice you to do something without going where? To the source. Okay, package delivery. On my way here, the assemblywoman talked about it. I get a text message telling me that my package is stuck at the warehouse because they need to verify my address or something is wrong with my address. Well, first of all, I haven't ordered anything, so I'm not expecting a package. And even if you were expecting a package, what warehouse are you talking about? Okay? So we have to stop and think. And that message that I saw, that's a smishing message. They want me to provide my information right off the bat. Sense of urgency. Not to think. That's a delete. Let's delete that because look at this. The link that they sent has nothing to do with UPS. Okay, it wasn't even a UPS link. But if you know that you are not expecting a package and the warehouse, don't fall for that. My coworker, he's an attorney. He texted me and he said, oh my God, Jackie, my dad says, hey son, are all mail that go to spam, is all spam mail fake? Johnny was like, oh my God, did you answer something in the spam mail? And he said, I did, because they're asking about a package that they couldn't deliver. So the father provided the home address and their name. He was freaking out. And I said, just calm down. I said, tell your dad, why is he in the spam folder anyway? But he fell for that. So we've got to know when someone is imposter, is an imposter. That's an imposter email, all right? Tech support. How many people are on the internet? Facebook. Okay. We're Googling and we're on our computer and bam, a message comes up and it tells me, oh my God, my computer is infected. And you start freaking out, but it tells you to call this number immediately. I had a woman who was 70-something years old and she fell for that and she called the number and they said, oh, don't worry, we can help fix your computer right now. And she starts seeing her mouse move and they took control of her computer and they said, well, we need you to pay $500. Well, and we'll get this situated for it. So she gave them a credit card number, $500. 2 weeks later, they're calling her back and they're saying, wow, this is really, more than we thought, is happening with your computer. We're gonna need another 5, another 1,000, another 2,000 to the tune of $7,000. She kept giving them the money thinking that they were going to fix her computer. When you see that, or if you get that pop-up, or if you are on your computer and it starts freezing and acting like a puzzle and it's just doing all kinds of crazy things and blinking, what should you be doing?
Shut it down.
Shut it down and get off of it, okay? I have children. I have young adult children. I don't have any grandkids, but come on, there's people that you can go to in your family that can help you rectify that situation. So I'm just telling you, please don't fall for that pop-up and call that number, okay? It is a ploy to deplete you out of your money because they're not fixing anything and they're putting malware on your computer because they have gained control of it now, okay? So you're gonna have to wipe everything clean and start fresh. So please don't fall for that. One of the newest scams that we're hearing about is this wrong number text scam. How many people have received that or heard about it or know about it? And I'm gonna show you some examples, but I could get a text message and somebody will say, hi, how you doing today? Look, who's this? I'm texting, who's this? And they say, oh, I'm sorry, I texted the wrong number. But by any chance, are you interested in crypto? Wait a minute. Why am I entertaining this unknown person? That's a delete. Okay, so wrong number text messages are really rampant, and it's going further where it might say, "Hi Jackie, this is Melissa. Could you help me with an Amazon card? You know, my bank was whatever." And I know Melissa. And I'm saying, that doesn't sound like Melissa's. Why would she ask me to buy an Amazon card for her because she is out of town and somebody's birthday, and she'll pay me back when she gets back into town? I know Melissa, that's not her. And that happened to me probably 3 weeks ago. So I called Melissa and I said, hey, I think that you've been hacked. And so then she started freaking out. I said, calm down. I was like, do this. So we've got to be mindful that the person, the imposter, wanting to engage in conversation with you will act like they know you, but the wrong text message of a scam, they don't know you. They want you to engage so that they can pull you in. So if you see something like that, delete. The grandparent relative scam, anybody know about that? Received the phone call, okay? Those are super, super, super fearful. Any phone call that you receive about your bank, unusual activity, your relative, your grandparents, your kids, all phone calls wanting you to do something are very frightening. Am I right? Okay, so the grandma, it's me. And you might say, this is the A portion, Johnny, what's the matter? You sound weird. What have you just done? Gave them the name, okay? So even if you don't give the name, you're going to entertain it because they're saying, grandma, it's me, or grandpa, I don't want to leave the men out. It's me, and I'm in trouble. I stand to be arrested because my friends and I were at a bar, and it broke out into a fight, and they took everybody down. But please, don't tell mom or dad. They'll be pissed, they'll be furious. That's why I'm calling you. Red flag number 1, somebody tell you not to tell somebody something, that's a red flag, right? Okay, second thing, it sounds like Johnny, your grandchild, and the AI, the voice cloning, because that's what that is, taking your voice from something off of social media, making it sound just like somebody that you know who is now in danger and they need you to do A, B, and C. They're gonna put an arresting officer on the line. He's gonna instruct you, grandma, on how to send the money so that I don't have to go to jail, okay? But it's a time limit on it. You might have 2 hours to get to the bank. You might have 2 hours to go to Walmart, get some gift cards or green dot cards or whatever kind of cards, scratch the back of them, come back and provide that number. We'll take a wire transfer. We can take the payment over phone, but time is of the essence. So of course you're nervous. This is your loved one that stands to go to jail. This arresting officer is instructing you on what to do. Stop. Just because it sounds like them, remember, artificial intelligence is very, very, very convincing. The next level is a FaceTime, where I'm seeing my kid saying, Mom, these bad men have taken me, and they only gave me a minute to talk to you. Wait a minute, wait. You have to calm down. So let's think about this. Before you provide any monies or go, I've had people be told, we'll stay on the line with you while you go and get the money. Who does that? Who stays on the line with an individual while they go to the bank or go to Walmart to get the money, but the caller's still on the phone? No one. So be mindful. Let's do this. With your family, maybe suggest a code that only your family members will know. So if you do get that kind of phone call with someone posing as your loved one or relative, you can say, well, if this is Johnny, what high school did your mother go to? Something that only you guys will know. We've got to start protecting ourselves and calming down. and then hanging up and calling to make sure that your loved one is not in harm's way, okay? This is very rampant. So stop, don't click on any links or call back any numbers that are provided for you because it could be an imposter. We really don't know who sent it or who's calling us. Next slide, please.
Jackie?
Yes.
There's a new movie out that we just saw called Thelma about the same thing.
Yes. Thelma is about the phone, the grandma scam, and the beekeeper. The Beekeeper is an excellent movie. It's on Netflix now, and it has nothing to do with bees. And it nothing to do with bees. But that's another movie that I'm suggesting that you look at as well. That is, I don't want to give it away, but it's a very good movie, okay? So phone call and text message scams, I'd like to have examples up there. You see the guy in the corner looking at his cell phone, and he's getting a phone call from the FBI. Really? Okay. The woman on the phone at home, she's probably saying, who is this? Because they are probably asking her for information, okay? Scam text message, the bottom box. That's that smishing that says notice with the numbers from your bank, and it's telling you that your card is temporarily locked, so please call this number right now. That's the sense of urgency, but we are going to do what? And we're deleting that message, and I'm calling my bank, not with the number that they provided, okay? And then this is something new that's going on too. You know, you might have Netflix or any kind of other application on your television, and they're texting you and telling you that your membership is about to expire, that you need to click this link to get it up to date. No, we're going to go to the source. Go to the source and pay attention to the links, okay? Next slide, please. This is a great example that I like to use. This is a phishing email, and the first thing that probably you saw was the Bank of America logo. Am I right? Okay, because that's what they want you to see. It looks very official. That is the Bank of America logo. But this email has an abundance of errors in it, and this is also a form of artificial intelligence. If you could see it, the from box at the top says Bank of America, but the email for Bank of America says @comcast.net. That's a cable company. That has nothing to do with Bank of America. So that is a red flag right there. Other grammatical errors are circled in red, but my biggest point is they want you to not pay attention to that, and it's telling you that they detected unusual activity at your bank on your debit card, and they want you to please sign in at Bank of America at the blue, but if you look at the yellow where the arrow is, that's the real link that is embedded in the Bank of America link. Again, go to the source. We're not caring that the logo and it's from my bank. You need to go directly to the source. Don't click. That is what they want you to do. Next minute. There's that warning, your computer may be infected, and it comes up really big, and you know, there's the number. And we talked about that, just shutting it down and getting off. Next. Here's the wrong number text scam. Hey there, it's Jen. I'm gonna be around Fort Collins for the weekend. We definitely gotta get together. While I'm here, tell me when you're available. And the person says, Jen, Saturday, like, who is that? And she says, wow, excuse the text. I'm so embarrassed. I've been drinking this vacay. I've been pretty drunk, LOL. I think I texted the wrong number. Can't believe I did that. The girl says, enjoy your stay. But then the girl comes back and says, what do you look like anyway? I'm honestly up for whatever. It's been pretty bored out here. Been looking for anything to do, LOL, laugh out loud. What's your name anyway? Engaging her. Why am I having a conversation with somebody who I know texted me in error? And then the other part of that, these wrong text messages, they start leading into cryptocurrency purchases. Are you familiar with cryptocurrency? And you might say no. And don't worry, I'm an expert, you know, I can teach you. And we've had people engage in these wrong number text messages and fall for cryptocurrency scams. So be mindful, if someone texts you by mistake, delete that. Yes, sir.
Can you go back prior to this one?
Okay, can you? That one?
Yeah, so when I take picture.
Okay, next, please. The next one after that. Next. No, go back. Let's, yeah, keep going. Next one. Okay. Let's talk about cyber safety real quick. Of course, when the pandemic hit, we were locked inside, a lot of us, including myself. I'm not an online person who banks. I'm very old school, and you know, my job might have just a little bit to do with that, you know, because you become a little bit paranoid. This is another thing I say. The bad people make it bad for the good people. We don't know who to trust, okay? So what is a copycat site? Quick, true story. How many people shop online? Okay. When we shop online, how many people use Amazon? Okay. Somebody tell me Amazon's site. What is it?
Amazon.com.
What?
Amazon.com.
Okay, .com. Okay, so young lady purchased some stuff off of Amazon. This is a true story. And you know, when we are shopping online, once you make your purchase, whether you're using your credit card, which I'm going to suggest, not using your debit card, because, you know, in case something happens, you'll have that leverage through purchase with your credit card. So she uses her card and she gets the email that says, "Thank you for your purchase. We'll let you know when your package is ready to be shipped." Before she can do anything else, not even 5 minutes later, she gets another text message that says, "Oops, I'm sorry, there was a problem with your with your method of payment. Can you re-enter your information?" So she didn't think anything of it. She, you know, punches in her credit card number one more time. And the minute that she did it, and pressed the send, she realized, she looked at the link at the site. It was Amazon.com, C-O-N, Amazon.com, copycat sites. We've got to look at the extensions. When we are Googling, we've got to pay attention. And how do you know that you are on a secure network? If you are Googling something or you're looking up something, to know that I am on a secure site, that lock in the corner, it's sometimes at the corner or at the bottom, it should be closed. And then that HTTP should have that S, which stands for secure, at the end of it. Okay, but we've got to start paying attention to the spellings. One person saw Amazon, but it was A-M-Z-O-N. The A was missing, didn't catch it in time. You know, the .com, the .coms, we've got to pay attention and to be on our secure sites. Two-step verification, multi-factor authentication. A lot of older adults were not wanting to do this because, you know, they weren't used to doing online banking. And, you know, this is something very new for us. You know, we've really got to protect ourselves. The two-step verification is, you know, they'll send you a code to you only to verify that it's you that's logging onto your site, okay? And I want to say this, when we are looking or banking online and you want to check your accounts or whatever, you want to not just close out. You don't want to just X out. You want to log out, okay? You want to log out, all right? Passwords is over with the remedial or easy passwords, you know, my anniversary date, you know, or my grandbaby was born on August 1, 2000, you know, so we want to start doing something better with our passwords, you know, making them longer, adding letters and exclamation points or things like that, okay? And maybe changing them maybe twice a year, but writing them down so that we will know, we'll remember what they are. Yes?
If you get hacked, how do you go about changing things so you won't be hacked again?
She said if you get hacked, meaning on your,
Yeah, like on, I had a friend that just said she got hacked on Facebook.
mm-hmm.
Now, how do you go in and change that?
Okay, so she's asking if you get hacked. She had a friend who got hacked on Facebook and she wants to know how do you go about changing it. It's a lot to do. You know, the first thing I'm suggesting to do is come off of Facebook, delete that account. And my friend had the same thing, and do you know she couldn't delete it? She was having a problem deleting it, and it was something coordinating with her AT&T or whatever, but you've got to take the necessary steps to shut stuff down, okay? And to contact your contacts to let them know, I didn't send you that message, you know, I've been hacked and my account is now shut down. So you gotta shut stuff down, okay? And social media scams, come on, people, stop putting so much information on social media. I'm so excited that you're going on vacation and that you're leaving on August 1st, and I hope you have a wonderful time in Hawaii, because wow, you're gonna be there for a very long time, because I see that you're gonna be back on August 15th. So you just said, I'm gonna be gone from August 1 to August 15, and that's a can of worms in itself for people to know that you're not going to be home. We have got to start limiting our information on social media, number one. Number two, we should only be befriending people or connecting with people that we know, okay, that we know. And don't forget about photoshopping. We've got to connect with people that we know, and we don't have to find love on the computer. Please, it's so billions of dollars, billions with a B, people falling for the romance scam. Yeah, he looked pretty good. Yeah, you do too, okay? But my thing is this. If you're looking, they're looking. And if you want to connect with somebody or have connected with somebody, when they start doing things like they can't come and see you, but they love you, you know, well, my phone is old, so I can't even FaceTime you. I wish I had an updated phone, but I don't have the money for that. Now they're starting to ask you for money. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to be mindful of where we're looking for romance, okay? These people are out of the country, out of the state, and they could be right here. So please be mindful about the romance scams, okay? Social media is helpful, but it's also very harmful, okay? Yes.
Is it true that it's not a good idea to try to access like your bank or other personal information in a, like at Starbucks or out?
Very good point. Very good.
It's better just to do it at home?
She said, is it true that it's not a good idea to access your banking information at a Starbucks? You know how you can go to different places and you can sit and be on your computer? I would not suggest that, you know, because it's their VPN, you know, so you want to not do any personal information at places like that. And while you're talking about that, we're going on vacation. People are flying. Please charge your phones up before you leave to go to the airport. Try not to use or don't use the plugs at the airport. That is called jack juicing or juice jacking, okay? Where they have a device inside those things. When you plug your phone in while you're waiting for your plane, you know, you're charging your phone because you're low, it's sucking the information out of your phone. So be mindful to charge up before you get to the airport, all right? Okay? So, yes.
You're saying people have a device they can put in those?
Yes, yes, and we're not gonna know that.
USB port is?
Correct. I'm sorry. Yes, just a messenger. Yes. So be mindful. Scammers are good at what they do. They go to places where they know we utilize stuff, okay? So yes, charge up before you leave for the airport, okay? Limit your information on social media, all right? Next slide, please. Red flag signs. Scammers are convincing. They play on our emotions because I'm fearful, I'm nervous. You know, I don't want anybody to be in trouble. I don't want to be in trouble. They're playing, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I'm a widow, I'm a widower. They play on our emotions. And the sense of urgency is big with them. All of these messages about my bank, my credit card, my social security number, things that are gone wrong. This is a sense of urgency wanting us to act quickly. They're leaving threatening messages. You're on the phone. If you don't act right now, debt collectors are very well known for that, threatening people to pay right now, okay? So threatening messages, acting quickly, they tell you to keep it a secret, and if it sounds too good to be true, you know that's an old saying, it normally is. This is what is in a scammer's mind. And then if they ask for wire transfer, prepaid card, gift cards, come on. Who pays their utility bills with a gift card? Do you pay any bill with a gift card? Can you pay a bill with a gift card? But who does that? So we have to start thinking. And then the cryptocurrency, all of these equals sending cash, okay? Wanting to get your personal information and to deplete our monies. Next, excuse me. So how can you help yourself protect your personal and financial information? You should not give your personal information unless you initiate the contact. Again, I've talked till I'm blue in the face about imposterization. We don't know who is on the other end of the phone, text message, or emails when it's incoming, okay? Government agencies will not call you and ask you for money, okay? Be cautious of the links that you send via text or email. Don't click on those. If you get home and you have a voice message that's left and it's alarming because maybe someone's used your credit card, they want to verify that the purchase was yours, you should be going where? To the source, not to the number that's left on your phone. You should be going to get your credit card, turning it over, and calling and verifying, and limiting your information on social media. This is how people get information to do AI scams. The voice cloning. We're all hanging out because we're, celebrating somebody's retirement, and Bob is just cutting the rug, and he's having a wonderful time. And look at Uncle Joe over there. He's having a great time. So I'm calling off names, and I'm showing you on the camera. This is how scammers get our information and our voices, okay? That's one way. So be mindful about what you're doing on social media. And I've already talked about the credit versus debit transactions. Now let's talk about writing checks. Check writers. Are you familiar with check washing? Yes. Okay. Some of us are not shaking our heads. Check washing is when someone gets a hold of your check and they can wash the information off of it. If I wrote a check to Macy's for $50 and I signed it because that's my July payment, and someone stole that check or got a hold of it and washed it, they can change Macy's to their name, change the $50 to $500. The bank is going to cash it because guess what? They didn't do anything with the signature. So it looks like I made the check out to that person. So in order to prevent that, or some safety tips for that, I suggest writing checks and signing documents that are of importance with an anti-fraud pen, an anti-fraud gel pen. And this is the question that I get. Well, I use a gel pen. Is it the same? If it didn't say anti-fraud on the package, it's not the same. Because an anti-fraud pen has indelible ink that can't be check washed. Yes, sir.
I have never heard of this before.
I know. I know. And guess what? Inside your bag, those really cute pens that are in there, anti-fraud gel pens, okay? So everybody has an anti-fraud gel pen, and it's not going to say it on the pen. It's just you can get them at Office Max, Staples, anywhere that sells office supplies, and on the packet, it's going to say indelible ink or anti-fraud, okay? So make sure that it says that. And I usually suggest to my audience, you write checks, keep the pen with your checkbook so you know that you're going to use it. Yes, sir.
Amazon had it or something like that?
Amazon, but you want it, yes, sir.
Would they announce that it's identified so that I would know if that's true?
It's going to say it, if you go to Office Max or Staples right now, or Walgreens or something, and you want to buy a pen, want to buy the pen, it should say anti-fraud on the packet, on the pen, okay? On the thing. Here's your pen, right here, it should say anti-fraud, okay? Yes.
The issue with the check cashing that she had, they did not change the name, State Farm Insurance, State Farm Insurance. The problem was, they were able to cash the check,
So the check was stolen.
yes, out of the mail.
Somewhere along the
And so
way.
my question was, it went through 2 banks. And we need to address the issue that the banks cashed that check when it did not have a signature on the back that formed it.
Okay, so you want to file a complaint with our department?
Well, we,
You got it situated?
Finally.
Got it, you worked with your bank and got everything?
About 3 months to
Okay.
clear it up.
But you got it together?
my issue again is, why are the banks cashing that check?
That,
The signature on the back and nothing.
that shouldn't have
to do with the
happened.
State Farm.
And I always say, I don't always say, but I'm going to say, remember, things happen on the inside. Everybody is not the best worker, okay? So we've got to be mindful of these things, but thank God you caught that. You were able to rectify that. You understand what I mean? Okay? So monitor and freezing your credit. It used to be where you can get your credit report, and you still can annually, once a year at annualcredit.com. Now, as of November 2023, you can get your credit report from each credit bureau, which is Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, on a weekly basis if you have time. You can get it more often than once a year. And I suggest monitoring, and if you know that you are not going to need your credit right now, you're not buying a house, you're not buying a car, you're not doing, opening up any new credit, put the freeze on there. Put a freeze on your credit. It is now free. If you need to do something with your credit, you can simply lift it again for free. That's an extra protection. There's a lot of data breaches going on right now, so you want to put the freeze, and they offer that, and I get the question, should I use theirs? That's your choice, but you can do it yourself, okay? Put a freeze. If you know that you're not going to be opening up any new credit, that is the first signs of identity theft. You'll see it on your credit report, so pull it and make sure that all of the things that are on there are yours, okay? And things that shouldn't be on there, you could dispute. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have those agencies that we can contact listed in this booklet?
Yes, you don't have to take a picture of the screen. The booklet that's in the bag has all of this information in it, okay? Yes.
On TV, they advertise LifeLock,
Mm-hmm.
and it scares you to death because they make you think that somebody could take your property. It's very easy, they just go 1 or 2 places and then you lose the title to your house. Are those?
So she's asking about LifeLock. I do get that same question, and for me, I choose to do my own monitoring. I choose not to pay a company to monitor for me, but it's your choice if you want to do that or not. But if you're doing it, I'm still wanting and suggesting each of you to become active and proactive in protecting and watching your stuff, okay? That means looking at your statement, looking at your bills. I wouldn't care if it's like an extra $3. I want to know why my phone bill has an extra $3. Did it go up without notification? What's happening? So you want to be able to dispute charges that are not yours, okay? She was first.
Still not understanding the freeze thing. So you're saying, like, I don't plan on borrowing money for anything.
Mm-hmm.
pay the rest of my life.
So placing a freeze on your credit with each credit bureau, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. This way, God forbid, someone steals your identity by however means necessary, however it went down, your credit card, and they start using it. If you have a freeze on your credit, no one should be able to open up any new credit in your name. But it does not protect your current credit. This is why we have to be proactive in watching our statements. So placing the freeze, God forbid, you should be a victim of identity theft. I'll give an example. I get a lot of credit card offers, right? The applications come and, I don't want to open up a new credit card. So don't do this. Just toss it in. Don't just toss the application in the trash can. We still have a lot of people who dumpster dive looking for stuff like that to become us. You need to shred it. You need to tear it up, take your name off of the envelope, all of that. So if someone got a hold of that application and filled it out, they're now you. But if you have the freeze on it, they won't be able to move forward. You understand what I mean? Okay, everybody clear about that? Okay. But always verify that there is an issue, okay? Go to the source yourself. And the booklet that's on the screen here is the booklet that's in your bag, and it has a wealth of information inside. It has a resource guide in the back because we don't always know who to contact, okay? Next slide, please. So reporting fraud, you guys are our eyes and our ears. If you see something, say something. If you have a question, call us. It could be as simple, I received a phone call, I'm not sure if it's a scam or not. Because not all things are a scam. It's not a scam until you act on it, okay? So contacting the DFPI, we do have a toll-free number. We have multi-language capability. We have live people who answer the calls. You can go to our website or you can email us at outreach@dfpi.ca.gov. When you call our toll-free number, we're able to verify whether the individual or the company that you're thinking about doing business with is properly licensed. I don't want to work with a company that has a whole bunch of complaints. I don't want to work with somebody who's not properly licensed to do business with me in California. So we're able to give you that information, and if you need to file a complaint, we can walk you through that as well. We have a great consumer connection newsletter that we put out every single month, and it gives information about what the department is doing to help to catch these bad actors, and you can always follow us on social media. Other resources are the Federal Trade Commission. You can report fraud to them, like identity theft and things like that. They're on the federal level. And then also if you've been scammed through internet, doing something online, you can always file with the FBI IC3, which means internet crime, okay? Because it happened online. And then stopping unwanted robocalls and text message, you can go through the website of the FCC. And then I know a lot of us, our phones do show scam likely or potential scam, and we should not be answering those, and we should not be answering unknown numbers that we are unfamiliar with. Because if they're not, if it's an unknown number and I don't recognize it, I'm not getting it. All the people that I usually connect with are in my contacts. So if Joe is calling me, it's going to say Joe, and I'm going to recognize that name and that number together. So just be mindful of those things. And somebody asked me before, what does go to the source mean? It means do your own homework. Don't believe the incoming messages, phone calls, or emails. It means take your Medicare card out and get the number off of that. It means get your bank card if something is wrong with your account and use that number there. Go to the source directly yourselves. So I want to thank you. And does anybody have any other questions? She was first and then you. Okay.
What about the do not call registry? Why doesn't it work?
I'm not going to say that it does work, but Again, you have to register your phone. It's good for every 5 years, your home phone as well as your cell phone. We are always going to get solicitation phone calls. And remember what I said earlier, the bad ones make it bad for the good ones. So if you keep getting solicitation calls from the same number and you're getting it and you're getting it and you tell them, put me on your do not call registry, or I'm signed up with it, that's a bad person who's not abiding by the law. You understand what I'm saying? We have no control over that. So this is why, again, taking the initiative of not answering, even though you are on it, okay? So if it gives leverage to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, because they're the ones who established the do not call registry listing. And what's happening is you can get a call from the same number 5 times today. And if you say that or you block it, they'll call you from a different number, so they're really good at what they do. They monitor our time frames when we're home, if you're answering the phones, that kind of thing. So it works, but we're always going to get phone calls. Yes, ma'am.
Will putting a freeze on your credit protect your grantee if you've got, let's say you don't have a mortgage on your property?
Mm-hmm.
Will that protect your property?
I don't know that it will protect your property. That would probably be a question for the clerk's office, to verify that. But it's about credit, it's about someone opening up in your name, okay? Someone back there was first. Somebody had a hand up back there?
Yeah, I wanted to know if that report fraud is in this booklet.
Our information is in the book. You might want to, we have, yes, it is. If you go to the resource guide in the back, we have it listed as state agencies and federal agencies, so the Federal Trade Commission, that information is there as well. Yes, ma'am, then you.
I get a lot of calls that show the phone number, and it could be from anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I try to call one of those back, it says this number is not in service. How do they get to use those numbers?
It's called.
If I answer and wait for somebody to come on, they'll want to sell me something.
Okay.
And then I hang up.
Okay.
But I mostly now just don't answer.
Okay, so can I just suggest that we're not calling the numbers back? Don't do that, don't do that, okay? So there's a thing called
There's no number there.
Okay, so you might pick up and you're hello, and then it might be a connection and someone will come on and say, hi, Jackie, blah, blah, blah. But that's spoofing. They could change numbers. I've had people who were calling themselves. How can that be? How can your phone be calling you? So it's spoofing. So don't do that. Just ignore it. Yes, ma'am. Just ignore it. And don't call the number back. Okay?
I wondered how they could do that, right?
Spoofing. You're spoofing, yes.
So if you freeze your credit, can you still use the credit cards that you have?
She said, if you freeze your credit, can you still use your credit cards? Yes, because the freeze is, again, if your identity was stolen and someone is opening up new credit, it blocks that. It does not block current, okay?
And then you call those 3 agencies and ask them, please freeze my credit?
Yes, and you can do it online and you can call. They're going to be asking for personal information. Sometimes we have to do that, but you are initiating the call, okay? So be mindful. Sometimes we do have to give up our social security number. And if you are writing a check and paying a bill, like Macy's bill, a credit card bill, do you know you don't no longer have to put the whole account number on there? You can just say ending and then the last 4 numbers of that card, okay? So the less is better. You were next. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
When the calls are coming in, I can tell that they come from a call center because there's a little bit of a noise.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I hear that, I immediately hang up. So that would help out a lot of in the noise.
Oh, if there's a hesitation,
And it's a little.
It's a call sign.
correct. And then someone starts talking.
I'm trying to pick up the call
They're waiting for you, and then again, they are saying, 10 o'clock was a very good time, somebody's gonna answer. So don't give them the abilities of knowing your practices, okay? Yes.
Do you have to give out your social security number, like at the hospital, or, they ask, I usually just give the last 4 digits, but there's no reason that they should know your whole number, right?
Correct. Let's just say you are new to going to the hospital or whatever. You're gonna provide, or to the dentist, you're gonna have to provide all that information, the whole social security number, so that it could be in your file. They'll know who you are. But from that point on, they should not be asking you for your social every single time you come there. They have that information already on their records, okay? Yeah. Yes.
The checks that we ordered that are security checks, because I've had checks washed. And the one that was washed was from malpractice insurance that was sent to the East Coast. And it was cash, sort of like theirs, so it was an insider thing. But, so now I have security checks, but I don't know how that works. It's something that I ordered from, there's that bank, I can't remember the name of the company that makes all the checks and stuff.
I'm not really familiar with the security check. Like, what is that?
They called it secure checks is what it was. Secure checks. I don't know if there's something in the printing or, I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that. Maybe, but then you have.
Whatever I ordered.
Oh, okay. Well, now that you ordered them and they're coming, you have an extra layer of protection, your new anti-fraud gel pen. She was first and then you. Yes, ma'am.
There's 2 questions. The one that was hacked, the person that was hacked, did they get my information if they were hacked? If I'm a friend of theirs?
They could, because you're on, she wants to know if her friend was hacked.
Yeah.
Will they have her information? They probably can have your information because you were in there, but I don't know that any personal information on Facebook, but don't put anything past a hacker or a scammer. Most of us are probably all on, don't freak out, but on the dark web. You understand what I'm saying? So we've got to be diligent in doing it. And you probably really want to know, should you be changing your stuff as well?
That's what I'm asking you. Okay. The second thing is, I received in the past 2 weeks, letters from hospitals that I have been to, and some other places that say, we have been hacked and your information has been taken, and I don't know what to do about that.
Okay, so that's what I mentioned earlier about there being a whole lot of data breaches. I just got a letter, I'm with CalPERS, they've been hacked. I just got my credit, AT&T had a really big data breach. I just got one from Ticketmaster, and I was like, oh my God, and I went to a concert and used my card. So this is just me, I don't utilize their monitoring thing, I choose not to. And most of the time when you get the letter saying that there's a data breach, they're usually saying that they are going to monitor. You know what I mean? Go to the credit bureaus yourself, go to the source and say, I got this letter, put the freeze on. You see what I'm saying? So go to the source yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I even froze my social security.
There you go.
So, just to make sure everything is.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm
sorry.
I got a whatever scams or something, and that I won a lot of money, and it kind of went on for a little bit, and in the end, at one point, they actually sent me a document that was supposed to be on IRS stationery as a verification of what I had to do. My question really is, I didn't send them any money, I didn't really respond, but should I report that to somebody?
You can report it to the Federal Trade Commission.
Federal Trade Commission?
Yes, the FTC, it's in the book.
I feel like I should tell somebody, and I have the letter on IRS stationery.
And you
Because
can
they sent it to me on my computer, so I printed it out.
report it to the IRS as well.
Federal
Trade Commission.
Trade Commission?
Yes, ma'am, it's right here.
Oh, okay.
But it's also in the book, in the resource guide.
Okay.
Okay?
An IRS might like to know about it.
Absolutely.
What's that particular department I should send it to?
That I don't know. That I don't know. I want to make one statement. The Assemblywoman was talking about when I was in Leisure World and the gentleman, Ben, was talking about his mother. That was what the incident was. The mom used to work for the IRS, and she got a letter saying that she was due this money, and let's say it was $500 or $5,000.
Oh, mine was a lot more.
5,000. So she says, oh my God, I'm getting this money, blah, blah, blah. And the next ploy was, we need you to send 5,000 back because it was too much or something like that. And that's when she went to the bank and was going to get the money. So come on, think about that. Why would you be getting that? Why? And then go to the source. You got this letter from the IRS, call them. Call them, but not the number that you received, okay? All right?
Not what's on the letter.
Absolutely, but I can guarantee you that it's a scam, okay?
I wanted to ask you another question.
Let me, he was waiting, this gentleman right here. You, sir?
With all your experience in doing these seminars, do you see any of a dent getting any better?
I do, I do. The department has really been very diligent, and we've ramped up our oversights, and people are, reporting, and they are filing complaints. And when I'm talking to an audience, my job is to relay the information so that you can become aware. It's like leading the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So yes, it fluctuates with different types of scams that come into our call center. We might have a high incidence about mortgage scams, and then something low with crypto, so it fluctuates, but we're doing the best we can, but scammers are always ahead of the game. Hackers are always ahead of the game. So that is where we, as a community, come in, each one teach one. If you've had a scam, or if you had a letter, or a phone call, share it with people so that if they get it, they'll know that it was fraudulent. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
You just don't want to hear those stories about people losing their life savings.
It's very difficult. It's terrible. It's really sad. And I've been doing it for a very long time. I've literally had to put a person on hold because they were, so distraught. And then I became distraught. I was like, can you hold, please? And then, compose myself, because it's devastating. It is a devastating thing. You and then you. Mm-hmm.
On TV lately, there has been an ad about, I don't remember all the details, but an ad where a person can go to the mortgage place or wherever to get something notarized where they can get their name on your home and take your home over. Is that right, or is that a scam? But this TV ad wants you to apply for their protection, mortgage protection, or homeowner's protection, or whatever.
So she's saying that she's seeing a commercial where an individual can get protection from this company so that someone doesn't take their mortgage? Okay.
Take your house.
Take your house.
You don't even know.
Okay. First, I'm just going to say this. When you stated that they want you to use their service, that's what they want you to do. So you would be paying them to utilize their service. We've had instances, or there are instances without the commercial, where people's homes were deeded over to someone else, or because that's public information, So again, it happened to me many years ago. My first home, I was freaking out, and I get this new deed, and I said, "What the heck?" And so I'm looking at it. I was so nervous, but what happened was my address. The number was composed for the person down the street. It was their deed, but it had my address, but my name, but the lot was different, okay? So I had to go through all of that. I went to the source and said, hey, I'm not selling my house, and so what is it? And come to find out, they made the mistake for the address and the person. So these things can happen, and yes, people can go to the, online and look up, your information. It's public information. So again, if you want to utilize a service that's being advertised like LifeLock or this service, that's your choice, but always double check, always have that extra layer of protection, and check it yourself.
How could going online and just getting her information about her house, how could they take it over?
Just saying, it's public information, okay? I can Google someone in this audience right now, and they will zero in on where you live. Simple. You see what I'm saying? So technology, but again, you've got to take the necessary steps. That right there doesn't make any sense, what you said about, not saying you, but what the commercial is saying. You got to kind of like decipher that. Underneath the lines is they want you to utilize their service and pay for it. Yeah. Anybody else? There you go. Sense of urgency. Because when you hear take my house or own my house, without me knowing it, that's a scare tactic. Very good. You were listening. Yes.
Yes, I've been listening also. I got involved with a scam on July 3rd, and I consider myself a reasonably intelligent woman, and I still, looking back on it, I caught it before I actually gave them any money. And they actually wanted me to be at the bank and take out cash. So, I knew that was going to happen. Tell anybody in the bank or anything. How it started, I was on the phone with them for almost 2 hours. They caught me and they pulled me. They were so professional. Probably talked to me 4 different people being transferred supposedly to my bank, supposedly to the government, supposedly to Washington, D.C.
About what, though?
What? I started, and what I'm telling you go to the source. Looking back on it, my first mistake, the big mistake was, I received an email about a purchase from a company I wasn't familiar with, but it was from, the email supposedly was from PayPal. I've never had a PayPal account, but my wife has.
Okay.
And so I get this in her name. She doesn't check emails. She's got dementia. And so I was doing the emails. And this purchase was for like $486. And it was for some woman's in Texas, when I got the printout, it was a woman in Texas ordering a new phone. Well, I thought, well, we didn't do that. And I asked her, did you do this? No. Well, I made the mistake, you say go to the source. I called the number for PayPal that was on that form. And that got me into this thing.
Yes.
That I almost lost $50,000.
50?
50.
Wow.
Okay. So and they had all kinds of information from the bank that they shouldn't have. So looking back on it, I felt like such a failure and such a whatever, but they didn't get any money. But I just really beat up on myself afterwards because I should know better. The mistake I had was I called that number instead of looking up the number for PayPal and calling PayPal. So go to the source.
Right. So I would just want to say I'm commending you for realizing it. Don't beat yourself up. If you don't know, you don't know. Our first instinct would be to call the number that's provided there. But now that you are being educated, we know that there's imposters, that there's so much fraud. We cannot believe the emails, the phone calls, the text messages, and even snail mail. We've got to go to the source and verify. So don't beat yourself up, and you know, you're not the only one. And there's a lot of, anybody is susceptible to becoming a victim of fraud. It does not have to be just an older adult, you know what I mean? Anybody. So just know that, okay? Yes.
There's another scam for Medicare people, in that you should really be looking at your bills that come every month. I know of one instance of a man who needed a wheelchair scooter, and someone had stolen his information and received a scooter, and so they wouldn't give him another one. So look at your Medicare bills every month and make sure that you have gotten the service they say you've got.
Absolutely.
Because they can, you know.
And see, that could be.
They've been doing COVID tests that way. They charge it to your account.
So thank you for bringing that up. I used to work with Medicare Patrol. So there are resources, but we've got to start paying attention. Okay? Yes.
This is a curiosity question. A lot of companies that are legitimate, when you buy something from them and you have a debt, they sell you debt. Can scammers use that information in some way?
Yes, sir. Do you know that when you fill out a sweepstakes, you know, like if you're at the mall and you see the nice car and you want to put your sweepstakes, that's one way that our information is sold, you know, or captured. So yes, so we've got to be mindful about things like that. I don't do surveys anymore. You know how you go to a new doctor, like my mom is new to California and I got all her doctors and things like this. And every time we go for a visit, it's, how do we do? Please take the survey. I don't do surveys. I don't do surveys. I don't want that information. I don't want to provide any yes, no, whatever. I don't want them to know how active my email is. I don't want them to keep emailing me about things. I just don't do it.
You don't do what?
Surveys.
You don't use,
I don't take surveys.
I don't even know what that is.
A survey, like if you went.
Survey.
Yes, sir, a survey, yes, yes.
So can you find out if a company is selling the data, your debt, to somebody else?
Not me per se, but let's just say I'm buying a house. You know how you buy a home and you start out with one mortgage company and then they sell your mortgage, you sell it to another? Just like that. So people that are on the dark web, scammers, can buy our information from phone companies, from this place, from that place. That's a business, you know, so it's easily done. Again, it's about protecting yourself as best you possibly can and not always feeding into the question. Does that make sense? Okay?
So you're saying it's legal to sell my information to some other company that I'm not doing any business with?
You know how you get in your bank, you can opt out. It's called opt out to sell your information. My bank might send me a letter and like the little fold-up card or something in there, and it'll say, is it okay, I'm paraphrasing, for them to send it to their sister agencies or their partnering agency? No, I don't want you to send, and you could check, no, please don't sell my information or share my information with your partners. So you can, in the book, it talks about opting out, okay? Yes.
I think it might be in very small print. where
Oh,
you
yeah.
can opt out.
And I have a paper in there, always try to look at the small print, you know, because a great example, you know, a cable company is advertised on TV and you see $24.99, but right underneath it, it's for 1 year. People don't see that. So if I'm paying $79.99 and I see this offer of $24.99, I want to switch. I could be saving $50. But what I didn't realize is that $29.99 is only for 1 year because it's this small underneath the price. So look at the small print, okay? We're going to take one more question. Does anybody have one? And you are it, okay?
Well, they sell those lists to call centers.
Absolutely.
So they can cold call you.
Absolutely.
I worked in a call center and it's just, you give your okay.
Yeah. So it's easily done. Our information is sold easily.
Yeah, because in the old days, for a salesman, the only way you could get going would be on the phone. You didn't want to go all over the place, knock on doors, they call you. Now it's to the extreme.
I mean, technology, they can pull it up, look it up, print it, all of that, yeah. So, again, thank you so much for being here. And please remember to go to the source, okay? Thank you, all right, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. Thank you.